All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday and finishing up the month of June here with our Phelps Insignia Vertical 10 years. That's right, the same wines we did almost a year ago, and well, just a little over a year ago. And from the same cellar, our good friend Warren Cohen, and he had a life-changing experience, near-death experience. And when he came in to tell me about it, I said, man, we got to drink more of your wine. You got another Vertical Insignia. Let's do it now. We put this on the schedule in 3 weeks and sold it out. And Phelps Insignia, one of the iconic wines of Napa Valley. The very first Bordeaux-inspired blend in 1974, made by the great Walter Shug. Insignia was off and running. And since then, it's got 3 100-point scores now from Robert Parker. Wine of the Year for the 2002 in the Wine Spectator. Not a lot of wines can say that, especially at this production level. These guys make upwards of 20,000 cases of Insignia. There's only a few wineries on the earth that can say they've got 3 100-point scores from Robert Parker at that production level. Can you say Lafite? Can you say Mouton? Could you say Aubryon? Can you say Latour? The first gross of Bordeaux is what I'm talking about. Opus 1 makes about, well, they make more wine than that. Caymus makes more wine than that. Silver Oak makes more wine than that. They've never gotten a 100-point score from Parker. Wine of the Year, Caymus, yes, but most of them no wines of the year either. So anyways, a very special wine, and almost all estate bottled now, almost all organically grown. So this wine has changed a little bit. The blend sources have changed over the years. They're trying to get to all sustainable, all organically farmed vineyards from their own fruit. And Phelps is making some top level wines. Everything in the portfolio. The new stuff from Freestone, and then the Sauvignon Blanc also outstanding this evening. This 2012 is 100% estate grown from their home ranch in St. Helena. Really rich bouquet here of mandarin orange, kind of honeyed lemon custard, cantaloupe melon, some fresh flowers, a really full bouquet, showing even better on the second day, even richer. Mouth-filling fruit on the tongue, that lemon, pear, cantaloupe with vanilla cream kind of filling the center out on the tongue, and a long, zesty, minerally finish here. Excellent juice at 34.32. And then the Freestone Chardonnay, you know, they used to make a great Chardonnay called Ovation from Napa Fruit, Carneros, and this stuff is all Sonoma Coast fruit from their own vineyard out there, which is on the true Sonoma Coast. The town is Freestone. That's the name of the wine. And this wine's got an intense bouquet here of a lemon drop candy, kind of flinchy, minerally notes, lightly toasted oak spice, vanilla bean creme brulee, lovely concentration and richness on the bouquet here, and thick and creamy on the tongue, coming through with that lemon drop candy, citrus, apricot, a nice hand of buttered toast with some vanilla and cinnamon spice, tangy mineral lace finish, a firm hand of acidity, really rich and layered, but everything held together nicely. Most excellent juice. One of the best Chardonnays that I've had for $50 from California this year. All right, on to the Insignia, on to the Reds. And we started out with 94, 95. Well, we did a vertical from 94 on to 2003. So 94 and 95, two amazing vintages in Napa, and I have to say these wines showed very consistent with the wines from last year. The 94, you know, they're a little different blends. They're mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc. There was a little Petit Verdot in the 95, which there wasn't in the 94, but the 94 vintage just showing a lovely array of fruit still here, and silky smooth tannins. Wow, this wine's got everything, and still quite youthful here. This wine could go another 10 years in your cellar. 95, a similar vintage. I like the 94 just a tad bit better. The 95 seemed like it could have more structure, more tannins, but you know, very similar wines, both outstanding and should have a decade or more of life. The 96 didn't show great last year. This year it showed much better, and it had kind of an earthy, kind of musty aroma to it. Maybe it was slightly off, but this one showing the 96 vintages tannins and, you know, really dark earth here, showing as well some cocoa and mocha notes, and maybe just a touch of Brett, maybe just a touch of a Band-Aid kind of aroma showing in this wine, but not overwhelming. And the wine still had nice fruit and a lot of everything else, so still showing better than the bottle from last year. Excellent juice. The 96, not one of the favorites. The 97, however, wow, this wine is killer. You could keep this wine for another decade in your cellar. Just had this lovely richness to it, almost liqueur-like richness to the fruit here, and really forward and seductive, and just big and juicy on the tongue. This wine, lots of everything. Still has wonderful freshness. Still has got a great backbone of tannins. And like I said, another decade or more than 97. 98, not considered a great vintage, but every time we show this 98, man, it picks up a few fans. I liked it better than the 2000. Those were the two weaklings on the table, really. the 1998 and the 2000. The 98 just tended to have, to me, a little more complexity to it. The 2000 was fairly light, and they made 20,000 cases of the 2000. That was an off vintage, but like I said, they made a really nice balanced wine in both 2000 and in 98. 99, well, this wine has got some cojones to it still. This was a tannic vintage, and most of the fruit comes from Rutherford for this wine. Really lovely fruit still shown on this wine. Some tobacco spice, some really nice earthy components here, some bittersweet chocolate and fresh plowed earth. This wine's got some legs to it and still has some tannins here. It's going to be around for a few more years. That black earth coming through at the end, also excellent juice, but not one of the favorites. The 01 and 02, however, man, both awesome wines, both great vintages, both going to be around for a while. The 01 edged out the 02, in my opinion. It was hard for me to pick between that and the 97 is the favorite. Wow, the 01 just really big and rich, just decadent, some graphite and pencil lead notes showing. This is serious stuff, some dark currant cassis fruit, vanilla, espresso, bittersweet chocolate. Just starting to open up, man. Still great on the second day. Wow, long finish. This wine is a blockbuster, one of my favorite wines of the evening. Give another 8 or 10 years, killer juice. The 2002, almost equally as good. You know, this wine didn't show quite as much backbone maybe as the 01, a warmer vintage, maybe showing a little more forward, but still, this wine's got another 10 years also, an amazing Insignia. The 03, this wine was really good also. Maybe a little sun-dried note to the fruit here. That black cherry liqueur, sweet tobacco spice, toffee, roasted coffee. Really a little bit more forward, but still very rich, very primary. This wine's got a ways to go. Very well built, a more elegant style of Cabernet, but most excellent, very complex. And of course, you get extra when you come to a Wine Watch event. That's right. Ray and Joyce brought us the 05 Bacchus, which is one of the single vineyards they make at Phelps. They used to make a wine called Isley. Unfortunately, Joe Phelps decided not to buy that when Vineyard Barton Daphne did in 1989, and 1990 was their first vintage of Isley, and 1989 was Phelps' last vintage. And that is an incredible vineyard site now owned by the folks at Chateau Latour. But the 05 Bacchus was fantastic. Thank you very much, guys, for bringing that. And then Warren, our host, brought the 2010, which is a little monster. The 2010, a classic vintage. And this wine, still inky dark, has incredible core of fruit and wonderful structure. This wine's going to last for several decades. It's a wine you want to have in your cellar. Hey, we've got it right here if you want to buy it. We've got 09, we've got 10, we got big bottles of Insignia, a wine that we always have on the shelf here at the Wine Watch. One of the top wines made anywhere in the world, Joseph Phelps Insignia. That's what we had to drink at our 10-year vertical. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.